I'm Leon Todd for G66. Welcome to another Tuesday Tone Tip. On today's video, I want to do something a little different for these Tuesday Tone Tips, and I want to talk about a technique that I use when I'm layering guitars in a recording. I did a workshop over the weekend at Strings Attached Festival here in Western Australia, and I used this very example. I was using the FM9 at the time, but this will work using any of your fractal devices, just exhibiting the difference between what we might consider a really good tone on its own and a less desirable, or for the use of this particular discussion, say a bad tone or a nasty tone, and how you can use both together and craft a recording to really create a massive, punchy guitar sound. So what I want to do is I'm going to give you this example. It's a ragdoll song called Tell Me, and I'm going to show you the process that I would go through for layering the main riff. To get started, I've got a Les Paul standard in drop C sharp, and I'm using the Cameron CCV2A amp model, which does a great Marshall style thing. I've got this with my favorite cabinet IR, which you can grab for free, and I've got my usual high and low cuts that I would use either when I'm just jamming around at home or when I'm playing live. So this is the core guitar tone to get started. Now, the first modification that I would make to that when I'm tracking would actually just be to go in here and to set the low cut and the high cut to their extreme values in there. So they're essentially not doing anything in here. This is going to introduce a little bit of excess low end and some high end fizz. But when we're talking about a recording, think of that as information that you don't necessarily want to throw away. You can deal with that in post-production, but if it's not there when you track your guitar tone, then you'll never be able to get it back. So this is what we have. So it's a bit nastier, it's got a little bit more attitude, and as I said, we've now got the option to go in and leave it if we want, we can remove it if we want. That's a decision for post-production, but not for tracking. We want as much information in there as possible. So what I'm going to let you hear is the backing track with just a single guitar panned down the center with this tone. Let's go. Now, most modern rock guitar recordings are going to use at least a set of doubled guitar tracks. Before you just go in and do the double, what I would recommend is maybe just, say, turn the bass down and turn the treble up a little bit, or turn the bass up and the treble up. Just change the EQ very slightly. You're going to play a different take, so that other channel is going to sound different and create a natural chorus style effect, but also changing the tone a little bit, I think, can help there as well. So now here's the double with these two sounds. Now that already sounds like rock and roll, but what I like to do is to now really delve into some nasty guitar tones and create layers. These are going to be tracks that are played along with that main stereo pair of guitars that I've now recorded, but I'm going to mix them in a lot lower in the mix, and they're going to be really disgusting. This is the point, that we just want to create something to contrast our original guitar tone in there. I think this guitar tone on its own, you know, it's got a lot of punch. It just sounds like rock and roll. It's a Marshall style thing. It sounds nice, but we want to create some contrast in there so that the main tone really, really pops. And then we've got this nasty undercurrent in there. And my favorite way to do that is with fuzz. So let's bring up, say, the face fuzz. I'm going to crank the tone control on this and crank the drive. I want this to sound absolutely awful. Let's have a listen to what it does. And I say awful in the best possible way. That is what I would call character tone. You know, you're not going to use it all the time. You're not going to do your acoustic finger picking through that particular sort of sound. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to track a double of that, and I'm going to blend it in just under the main guitar tracks. I should mention as well, my original double, they are panned hard left and hard right. The fuzz tracks are panned about 70% left and right in here. Again, just for some contrast. Let's hear it. Now with this sound, the next thing that I would do is I would play that main riff an octave higher, and I'd leave any open strings in there. So I'm just going to add 12 frets to everything. I might play on the neck pickup as well for some more contrast, and again for a different character in there. Character and contrast is what this is all about. So the riff will sound like this. It almost sounds like a synthesizer now. I'd also go in there and play the riff a perfect fifth higher in there. And this is a really, really great trick. That combo gives you this. It's a bit noisy, but we get. Let's hear that now with the original double track, the layer of fuzz, and the layer of fuzzy octaves and fifths. And if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. So what I'm going to add in here, everybody's favorite guitar-centric effect, a wah. You can set this up with an expression pedal. I'm super lazy at the moment, so I'm just going to assign LFO1A to sweep the wah. And I'm just going to play the riff again. I'm going to mix this one in very, very low. You can do a double of this, or you can pan it around, or you can just do a single track on there, and it's going to give you this effect. Let's hear all of that together now. I'm going to play you the original double track, and then we're going to hear this kind of mini guitar orchestra on there. The whole point of this is that in a recording, we want to create something that is memorable, kind of in contrast to something live, where we want something that's responsible. It sits in a mix, it lets you hear all the other instruments, and it plays its role. In this context, we want to elevate this riff from just kind of sounding like a doubled rock guitar track to being a real character part, and we've done it with these character tones. Let's hear it all together. Now, the beauty of the Axe effects, the FM9 and the FM3, is there are so many ways to create character, whether it is with time-based effects, modulation, playing around with different cabinet and amp combinations, playing around with filters. It really, really is an amazing kind of sandbox in here to create unique tones. I've covered lots of unique tones that you can get in previous Tuesday tone tips, so be sure to go through those and mine them. You can grab my blocks library as well. I shared that in last week's video, and I'd love to hear from all of you. Would you like to see more videos like this, kind of applying some of these tricks to recordings or in a live context? It's very, very fun to kind of go through this, and it's something that I do cover in my own workshop. So let me know in the comments, let me know anything you'd like to see covered in the future, and I'll see you all next week. Take it easy. Tell me.